All right, so in this video, I'm gonna tell you everything about the EMD process. I'm also gonna show you what it looks like to work with me if you want me to fund the EMD for you. I can fund EMD whether you are a wholesaler or an end buyer. So yeah, I'm gonna tell you why you might need EMD for your deals, and I'm gonna tell you the entire EMD process. Again, show you what it looks like if we work together for your deal. The contracts that I need to see or I need to see signed for me to be able to fund, to have my funds protected. And at the end, just talk a little bit about my fees, right? And why I have them that way today, as of today, that you're watching this video. So let's get right into it, the entire EMD process. So first of all, I just want to talk about like the situations where you need EMD. I mean, if you've been into real estate long enough, you know that the earnest money deposit is just a way to show your seriousness to move forward with your offer, you know. And I mean, it depending on how you operate. I mean, it's also and what deals are you going after? It's gonna change the amount of EMD that you put to get under contract with the seller, right? So, for example, if you're a wholesaler and you're working direct to seller, a lot of times you might do like very small sizes of EMD, right? Totally fine. But if you, for example, if you go after properties that are on the market, there is an agent involved, you are going to see, or the agent is going to ask you, normally right now, they can ask you from 1% to 2% of the purchase price. So for example, the parties involved on a wholesale transaction, we have the seller, the wholesaler, and buyer. Let's say that there is a purchase and sale agreement between the seller and the wholesaler for 500,000, and then there is an assignment contract between the wholesaler and the end buyer for 520. So in that situation, the wholesaler would make 20,000. Well, now if this property is on market, the seller, or I mean the agent, is gonna ask for 1% of EMD. So in this situation would be 5,000 EMD. So it's gonna be up to where you are in your journey. And it's also gonna depend on if you're starting out or uh, like where you are in your business, right? As far as like having the funds ready to put that amount of EMD. So yeah, I mean a lot of times you might have the money, maybe you're just starting out, maybe not. So I just want to tell you like the ways or the reasons investors want to get the EMD funded from a transactional funder, right? So let's get right into it. I just put it here. Why investors use EMD funding? So number one, to show the seller or agent how serious you are with your offer. So maybe you have the money, but a lot of times you might not be the highest offer, maybe there are offers coming in higher than yours, but a good way for you to show your seriousness and even take your deal, even if you are not the highest, is to be aggressive with the EMD. So, hey, maybe the agent is asking for 1% of EMD, in this situation 5,000, and maybe you can come in and say, hey, I'm willing, maybe I'm not the highest offer out there, but I'm willing to put 10,000 EMD, right? So that's one of the reasons why it's powerful to have a transactional funder for your business. So you can be aggressive for EMD. Again, sometimes it's not going to be necessary, sometimes it will, but you can have that as ammunition, right, if necessary. So that's the reason number one. Number two, secure the deal immediately. I mean, maybe if you are direct to seller, this doesn't happen a ton, but maybe you might run across a seller that is an investor himself, and they want you to open escrow, I mean, immediately. Hey, once we get under contract, I need the EMD to be sent to the title company and get a receipt from the title company within 48 hours, within 24 hours. And you might not have, maybe you're working on multiple deals and you might not have the money to put the EMD down. So that's another reason you might want to have a transactional lender on your team to secure the deal immediately, to have that confidence that you can do it. That's reason number two. Reason number three, keep on capital free for other business expenses. So again, this is gonna depend on your situation. And for example, most of the people that I work with, they are already like they already have like a big operation, right? They are big companies, and they prefer to use that money for other things, for on their business, maybe for marketing, maybe to other business expenses, right? So they don't want to put their own capital for EMD. So again, it's just gonna depend on you and your situation, where you are in the business. Another reason, starting out or don't have funds to load the deal up. So this is pretty, I don't get this a ton. A lot of people think that people want partner up with a transactional funder because they just don't have the money. I mean, this is not true. I would say like just 10% of the EMD deals that I've received, again, are from big operations. But again, a lot of people are starting out and they just simply they don't have the money to put the EMD down. So that may be another reason. So these are the main reasons I see people use, a partner to fund their deal, to put the EMD down. Okay, so yeah, these are the main ones. Now I want to talk about the entire EMD process, right? So this is what the entire EMD funding process, as you can see here. This just means if we work together, maybe you have a deal that you want me to fund for you. I'm gonna show you exactly the process that I follow in order for me to fund the deal for you and have everything ready to have my funds protected. Okay, so the first step is gonna be vetting the deal. As you can see here, it says info matches contracts. That's number one. B, are all contracts signed? And C, we need to pay upfront fee. So I'm gonna get into that in a second. But all I'm doing is when you make a submission on my lending website, I just want to see that everything that you're saying and that you want matches what you have on the contracts. That's all. I want to also make sure that it's gonna depend, because if you are the wholesaler, I want to make sure that I'm sending EMD within the inspection period. And if you are the buyer, normally the earnest money deposit is goes hard. I'm saying if you are buying it from a wholesaler, right? So I'm gonna be asking for a couple of things in contracts that I'm gonna get into, so to have my funds protected, if that makes sense. Now, willing to pay upfront fee. I'm gonna get into the fees at the end of the video to talk, because right now I charge an upfront fee. I charge 5% upfront. I'm gonna tell you right now, 5% upfront from the amount that you are requesting, or 1,500 minimum upfront fee, right? And then 20% at closing. Those are the terms that I have right now, and then I'm gonna explain to you why I'm charging upfront. So that's number one. And D, I didn't tell you here, exit strategy. Oh yeah, I just want to know here, hey, are you the one needing the funds as the wholesaler or the end buyer? And then from there, we can make a decision on the contracts I need or what I need to see to protect my funds again. And letter E, what is the inspection period? Again, I just said it. I just want to make sure that I'm sending funds within the inspection period. And then F, EMD refundable. I want to check, hey, maybe the EMD, if you are the end buyer, is refundable. So that makes it easier for me as the transactional funder, right? Now, number two, we're talking right now the contracts. So the main, whether you are the wholesaler or the end buyer, I want a mutual release signed. So what this is gonna be an addendum. So what does this mean? I'm just gonna read letter A. If end buyer have inspection go all the way to close of escrow. So what the mutual release agreement means is, if for any reason the buyer doesn't perform or the deal falls apart, if you're the wholesaler, I can still get my funds back. Okay. for example, it's gonna say in there that the seller acknowledges that even if the deal gets canceled and they disagree that they want, for example, if they want the EMD back, they are not gonna get it. They are already acknowledging inside the mutual release that I'm getting my EMD back. So that's the most important contract. And I'm gonna ask this to be signed by the seller or the end buyer. And once this is signed, I'm gonna feel really comfortable funding the EMD. That's number two. Now, in letter B, it says seller signs first, then end buyer. I mean, I'm gonna ask the seller to sign first and then the end buyer. Pretty straightforward. Number three, signing EMD contract or loan agreement. EMD loan agreement. So this means same time as mutual release. So I'm gonna be sending the mutual release and then the EMD loan agreement. And I mean, this is just the loan agreement just means it's gonna say line by line what's my fee and what are my terms and all of that stuff. And I mean other like provisions in there on how my EMD is gonna be protected. Number four, receive upfront fee. So this is like kind of the checklist that I go over once you make the submission. And this is before, even before, like I send the funds to the title company. That makes sense. So mutual release signed, EMD loan agreement signed. Now is to receive the upfront fee. Now this is the 10% non-refundable. This is just if you are the end buyer and this is during the inspection period. But right now, my normal fee is, don't get confused, it's again 5% upfront fee from the amount that you request or 1,500 minimum upfront fee and then 20% at closing, which I can add it right here. Plus 20% closing. Perfect. Nice. Number five, borrower sends contracts and introduces me to the title company. So once you send the upfront fee, and then you're gonna receive an email with next steps on how to introduce me with the title company. I mean, the title company needs to know how am I involved on this transaction, and they need to know that I'm gonna be the one funding the EMD for you. Okay. And six, I mean, before six, it would be to vet the title company to make sure that they are legit and before I send the funds. And then if they are legit, if everything looks okay, number six is to ask for the wiring instructions, send the wire, and then of course closing and everybody gets paid. I will get my EMD back plus my fee, right? So that is pretty much it. That's the entire process. That is what I would like to see before I send the funds to the title company. And now I just want to talk about real quick, like again, like a recap of all the agreements that I need signed before I send the funds. So again, as I told you, the most important one that I want to see is the mutual release, or what is the E right here? Mutual release addendum, the most important one. EMD loan agreement. Again, this is just to talk about all my funding terms and my fees. Now, there is a one that I need to see. This is for situations where the EMD is above $20,000. And I want to see a limited power of attorney. What this does is that I can get these contracts notarized, okay? So I have way more protection. And number four, title disbursement agreement. This is to confirm from the title company that they have received, that they are okay with the mutual release, that they have received it. They acknowledge all the steps that they need to follow. If the deal falls apart, I still get the funds back regardless. It's just to like confirm that they have received them, they have read them, and they acknowledge all these contracts. So really important right here. If for any reason the title company does or closing attorney does not want to sign this, I just cannot, either I don't move forward, I cannot fund it, or we change a title company or closing attorney. Boom. So yeah, this is the entire EMD process. And when it's needed, why investors might want to have like a transactional funder on their business. You might not need it now, but you might need it for certain situations for your future leads that you're working on. You never know. And yeah, I mean, just to talk about a little bit of the upfront fee. I have some notes in here about this actually. And for example, me and my team, we didn't used to charge upfront. We were like, hey, we are just charging when it closes. And here is an interesting like information that we got in 2025. So in June of 2025, I'm reading it right now. We received 37 EMD submissions. From those 37 from those deals, not a single one closed. Some didn't make it to the funding because they couldn't get the EMD refundable through the close of escrow. So the reason we changed to have some minimum upfront fee of 5% upfront fee is to get something paid and to guarantee that we're getting paid for our time instead of at closing, if that makes sense. So again, this is just the full payment upfront allows us to guarantee getting paid instead of the other way around. So what was happening is that a lot of wholesalers of investors were taking like advantage of having to close a closing only, that a lot of these deals were not even like good deals. They were like, okay, I'm just putting this under contract. I don't care since I'm not putting the EMD myself. Let's see what happens. So a lot of those are bad deals. And what we have been noticing is that since we started charging upfront, when as soon as we get someone to pay us upfront, is because they feel comfortable the deal is gonna close. That's it. And now the numbers are way different. Like, I don't know, to give you some numbers, I don't know, from 20 submissions, now 18 are closing. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times, or I mean, now less times, but right, a lot of times just deals don't close, just things happen and it's fine. But I mean, at least we're getting, for example, 30, 60 days in escrow, at least we're getting paid for our time, if that makes sense. So yeah, guys, that's it. Oh, what happened here? I'm back here. So that is as far as everything you need to know about like what it looks like working with me. Okay, so that is it. Let me know if this makes sense. If you already know me, send me a message and see and tell me if this makes sense. And I look forward to closing many deals with you. I look forward to funding all your deals when you need to, whether you are the buyer again or the wholesaler. Okay, so I will see you on the next one.